They look at her, they judge her, and we often term her as a hoe, a prostitute, or a girl who is too open to boys. Why do we do that? I really don't understand. What kind of judgment is this? It's her fucking choice that if she wants to wear short clothes or if she wants to expose her skin. She is not fucking exposing her skin for you to look at her skin. It's not meant for that. She is exposing her skin because she feels like it. Because she considers that her fashion statement. Because she likes to wear those clothes. It's her fucking choice. It's not for you perverts to stare at her. It's not an invitation. It is not. That is the fucking thing you people need to put in your mind. Which you still fail to.
Hey guys, this episode of the Great Indian Podcast is brought to you by the Anchor app. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's completely free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So the first episode of TGIP with a guest. Yes, it's finally happening. And this particular episode has been a huge learning for me because I learned how to make a podcast with a guest because it's my first time, and previously I made podcasts alone. And let me tell you, if you're also an aspiring podcast host or you want to start a podcast, talking to a microphone alone and like recording with somebody else in the room, it's completely different. So I had a lot of plans that I'm gonna ask him this, I'm gonna ask him that, a lot of these things. But this episode turned out to be something more like a candid, raw conversation between two friends, two brothers, which is a good thing, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy it a lot. So without any further ado, let's begin. What's up, India? Namaste and welcome to the Great Indian Podcast. I'm your host, Dave. So, okay, we have our first guest in the podcast. It's a big deal, guys. So, we have my brother from another mother, my partner in crime. What else? He's studying. He's an almost doctor. Why almost? He's studying. He's currently in second year in KIMS Kalinga Institute of Medical Sciences. What else? He's a really good pasta and pizza chef, and those are two things only that you can cook. Pasta and pizza, right?
We have different varieties of bread and egg.
Okay.
All the different three types of combos that you can come up with.
Only the basics. Also Maggie, right? Everybody cooks Maggie. Yeah, everybody cooks Maggie. So yeah, I've only seen those, but I've never had those.
Maggie, if you go to universities and colleges, Maggie is a big deal. Late night 2 a.m.
Especially in India.
It's a big deal.
Okay, so yeah, he's a good chef. He's a good photographer. So a big irony is that I own a DSLR and I'm not that interested. He doesn't own a DSLR, but he's really good at photography. Anyways, so a lot of introduction being done. Please welcome Dr. Jayaditya Modak.
But that's
welcome to the show, my brother.
Yeah, that's a big privilege to be here finally on the first episode of the Great Indian Podcast. It's been almost 7 years that we've been together. We have been pulling up pranks on teachers and whatnot. We've done
some crazy shit.
We have done some crazy shit in school. But yeah, for both of us, school life ended almost about 2 years ago, and it's been long 2 years. You stay in school, you don't even realize how time flies away. One day you go, you throw a ball at a teacher, the next day you go, you get your marks and you get 10 out of 10. Then you don't realize that what kind of student you're actually gonna be. One day you are doing this and getting called to the principal, and the second day you are just you're just cranking up your marks and the teacher is all with praises and oh my god, you did so well. You just don't know how your life is gonna get shaped up. The actual thing that happens, I would say, when your life actually gets a direction, when you're still in school, is when you go for the higher secondary educations. And I personally took up the science field because I was always interested in history.
By the way, I would just like to add something that let's call you Jay, okay? Like Jayaditya is a big name, so Jay.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's cool. Jay. So Jay is really good at studies. Okay, he got like how much? 90% in class 12, right?
Yeah,
big deal. And he got 98 in biology.
Yeah,
it's a huge deal.
The section topper, I would say.
Bapre.
The section topper in bio, but that didn't help. Like, I had to say honestly, CBSE second year, the class 12 and 11 marks don't really help you. What helps you is truly the knowledge and all that you can mug up. So that you can you're gonna put it up in JEE or you're gonna put it up in NEET.
I think that the problem with modern education system is that the more you can mug up it, the better you are. That is the problem.
Yeah, like speaking of modern education, as you were adding, modern education sucks, man. Really, it does. Education is not really education anymore. It's never in the hand of the schools or the colleges. It's primarily, if you look at it in this way, it's primarily in the hand of the society. Society wants you to do this. Modern education will pull up different sort of roads fenced with I don't know what, nails, cactuses, anything you want, and you need to walk on that road to achieve that. That's how modern education has been shaped this way. There is basically a destination and a starting point. The starting point is your kindergarten, the destination is your death. That's it. Now you either hang yourself or you die when you're 80 years with lots of medicines and injections in your body. That's up to you. But the road you choose, for modern education, in India primarily, is a big thing.
No, I would like to say that these days education is more like a business, because people with for example, okay, I won't take any names, but there are very big name institutions that are there that are basically exist just in order to make money, right? They advertise these huge billboards that hey, our institutions provide this big we have so good infrastructure, and we have so in case of engineering colleges also, because I'm an engineering aspirant, right? So we see a lot of colleges showing off that we have 90%, 99% placements, campus placements. What is that? It's nothing less than a brand endorsement, right? So I feel that is a big problem.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at colleges, then definitely they are nothing short of investments these days. But if we actually look at education as a business model, we have an entire city of entrepreneurs in India. Okay, they have developed an entire city out of a state which is completely dedicated to these kind of institutions, and my my beautiful friend, I'd say, or my girlfriend has been a part of that city. It destroys souls, I would say.
You're talking about Kota, right?
Yeah, I am talking about Kota. Yes.
Oh, the magnificent Kota.
I would say that if you want to build yourself, if you really want to get scholarship or distinction in NEET or JEE, Kota is not really the place for you. Kota is basically it's a room in which you are packed with full of books, where you have no choice but to spend your days with books and simply books. There is a tiny slit under the door from which the food and a bit of entertainment gets passed on to you, so that your life continues. But it is a very, very good, if you talk about business, it's a very good business model. And seeing that how many parents are passionate for their children to achieve engineering and doctors in this country, this market is going out of the box.
No, I don't think parents are more passionate. It's more how the society is shaping up to be. These days people, I'm mostly talking about parents, right? They want their children to get into IITs. It's not because they want their children to study some engineering, but they want their children to earn a lot of money, because there's a there's a false claiming that like there's a saying that अगर बच्चा IIT जाता है तो he earns like 1.3 crores per annum, which is a myth, right? I mean, there have been people in the history who have done this, but it's not like everybody who goes into an IIT earns like 1.3 crore package, right? So I want to ask you a question. There's a big in the recent like past 2 to 3 years I've been seeing this, right? So India is a land of engineers. We can call it like a land of engineers because in every other house there's an engineer, there's budding engineer that's coming out, and that's why there's this scarcity of jobs in the market. But then in the recent since you're also a medical student, I want to ask you that in the recent years we are seeing that there's been this shift of interest from engineering to medical sciences. So we have seen that a lot of people who fill up the forms of JEE Mains and JEE-Advanced and a lot of other entrance exams do not end up giving those exams, or even if they get a rank, they don't end up studying engineering. Instead, there's been a steady rise in the number of NEET aspirants. So will India ever be that kind of country where like right now we have a huge surplus in number of engineers? Will India be that kind of country where we have like a surplus in doctors? And is that a good thing or a bad thing? What do you feel about this?
I guess that whatever you said, like for the engineering, the people are moving from engineering to medical. I think it's absolutely 100% valid point, because I'll say that opportunities in medical are skyrocketing right now. And the only reason being is that, as you said, there has been a surplus of engineers in our country, and more the jobs and the jobs are not there, but the workload, the workers are there. So more and more people studying engineering, they're not getting jobs, and even if they're getting jobs, they're getting in TCSs and something of the call centers or whatever like is coming up. So what's happening is that they're getting 20,000, 30,000 rupees per month, which is definitely not enough to earn a livelihood in today's country. Hell, a phone costs more than that. So that's why people are mainly shifting from engineering to medical, because in medical what happens is that you get the degree, you do the masters, and then if you are interested and if you really can go through so many pages, then you end up doing PhD. But even if you get the basic degree, that is the MBBS or the BDS degrees, what happens is that you become self-sufficient. So take a general physician in the case of MBBS, and if you take an oral surgeon in case of a BDS student, you can open a clinic. Even if you're a general physician, you can suggest medicines. And if you're an oral surgeon, at least if you can't do anything at all, if you can just anything, you can just take off someone's teeth and earn 10,000 rupees per month. I guess that's enough. For one patient, you're getting 10,000 rupees.
Okay, I wanna just ask you something, because I know you've told, but just for the listeners, we have in India we have MBBS and BDS, right? So what are MBBS and BDS? I mean, there's a huge misconception among people that BDS is basically dentist and MBBS is like a general physician. So what are these? Can you just explain these in a nutshell?
Exactly, just like in the Hangover movie, this dentist visits the hospital and they just put him off as saying, "You're just a dentist, you're not here. We don't really consult my dentist for medicines." It's not really true. BDA student is not a dentist. First of all, he is not a dentist. He is the Bachelor of Dental Sciences, and he gets a degree. And I know that no one knows it yet, but it's a degree of oral surgery. A dentist is a person who works on teeth, and an oral surgeon is a surgeon who works on the entire head and neck portion. The head in case of brain, and the neck extends from your upper thoracic cavity to the entire face, the ear, lobes, etc. So a general physician, that is after you get the basic MBBS degree, can provide medicines, can consult you can consult that doctor, and he or she can check your symptoms and provide any kind of medication to that which can cure it. But he is not licensed, I would say, by the Medical Association of India, that is the MCI. Whatever. Is not licensed to provide or rather take, I would say, the surgical knife in his hand and do any kind of incision or cut the skin of the patient's body. But the oral surgeon, immediately after completing the degree of BDS, he is licensed to cut any part of the head and neck portion. And obviously, if he's gonna cut, then he has to have a master's in that, because obviously you just cannot go into a category which you are completely not aware of. But yeah, you get the license to do that, just like James Bond has a license to kill, but it doesn't mean that he will go on killing, does he? So Yeah, that's perhaps the basic difference. And BDS doesn't really mean a dentist. We call it a dentist, he or she a dentist, because he works on teeth. That's it. That's the misnomer that the society is not aware of it.
Okay, so I want to ask you something, a bit of a personal question. That is, you just passed your class 12 like how many, 2 years back, right?
Yeah.
So I want to ask you something that doctors especially in a place like India, doctors, engineers and lawyers, I mean, these are like the three heads of a trident. Like they are like the most respected status quo. So I want to ask you that after before you were admitted to a college, to a medical school, and after medical school, like do people, do your relatives and friends treat you like in a different, look he's a doctor, or like it's like a very chill sort of a thing that it's fine, but like yeah.
No, I guess for both of us, it's quite applicable that the social stigma is quite there for the relatives. For mom and dad, it's not so much applicable, but it's mainly the relatives that we get a degree for. I would say more than the patients, because like, let's just agree, like I passed on 12. I still remember like when I passed 12 and I sat for NEET and various other examinations, we have several, I would say, of my relatives, they came up and they asked me that what are you going to do after 12th and this, that, why are you sitting for so many examinations? Just to clear it out, I sat for engineering also, just like he mentioned. Like there are a lot of people who sit for engineering but don't end up taking the field, and that was the same for my case. I would say that NEET is so difficult that sometimes you need to take some backups, and engineering has always been there as a backup, and biotechnology and microbiology has always been there. So coming back to the topic, for relatives, it's obviously a very good thing, I would say, to say to relatives, to on your face bitch kind of a thing, like I'm studying medical and this, that. And before that, after you pass on 12 and this period of transition, after you immediately sit for NEET, and until and unless you get a college, there will be several obnoxious conversations with your relatives. There will be doubts, there will be skepticals, you will be dicey about whether to take it or not. People will suggest you about colleges and what is good, what is bad, MBBS is this, MBBS is that, BDS, oh my god, not an option, absolutely no, this, that. No one will ever consider that how much money you are gonna make after you get the degree, or what is your passion and what you want to say. You just need relatives just want another relative in their family to brag about to another relative, that this relative of mine is this, and just like several 3 degrees of he's from Singapore and he has done this and he's treating this patient and he's a big cardio surgeon and this, that. And I would say, until unless you get a college and until unless you get a name for yourself, they will continuously criticize you, and they will shame you, like job shame, or occupation shame, if that's a thing. They will continuously say that, oh my god, you're doing this is not good, and his son also did this and he was not able to perform well in his life, and now see, he's just sitting at home not doing anything. I have faced this in my life. And after you attain medical also, and after you get medical, there's a jealousy factor that comes into play, because I would say that there are a lot of relatives who have their daughters and their sons, and if they are not capable and if they are not really up to the mark to compete with you, they don't have any stand of their own, do they? They basically will say, they will find out some black marks in whatever you have done in your life, and they will be like criticizing you for those small things, just because their daughters and their sons couldn't do that much in their life. So yeah, that comes in. Relative criticism has always been there, and I think that the major thing that the society needs right now is for parents to be aware, to not get the sons and their daughters' lives affected because of whatever the relative says. I think that's a big issue that we need to be working on.
Yeah, I'm sure we all Indians have that fat, sort of creepy auntie who is like always there. The buaji is always there in each and every Indian family, who is like always criticizing, and she's like there in each and every family. I don't know what. It's like Satan's sort of reincarnation. No, not exactly Satan. It's like some form of Satan who just reincarnated. So that is there. But moving on from this discussion of medical field, I want to talk a little bit, because you are also very much interested in photography. By the way, Jay has got an Instagram page in YouTube that's called Imprints. Would you like to say what it is?
Yeah, it's basically pretty much everyone on Instagram have been making photography accounts. I had an Instagram page before. It was a personal account come photography account. I realized that I would like to make it a photography account separately. So I figured out what should I name it and all that. So I went with the basic simple name, that is ENPRINTS, Enprints _, which basically means photographs and nothing else. Why I thought this, I'd say because personal account should be personal. I thought of making it private, and then I saw the likes going down, so I completely changed my mind. But I would say Enprints was not a success. It's 100 or 105 followers till now. Though the quality of the pictures I posted, it's really good, and all I learned from my friend buddy sitting over here is that every photo should provide a story to the observer or whoever is viewing that on Instagram. But the majority of the people, what they do is that they scroll through Instagram, they like a picture, they just move on or drop a comment, and that's what they can do. The picture, the story, the caption, no one pretty much cares, do they? The hashtags get you the likes, and the likes get you the confidence to do more in life, and that's just the sad truth of the society. So, and the same happened with me. I'm being truly honest. The likes were not there, and so I don't know if I'll become continuing in prints or not. I have been clicking some pictures, but the self-confidence and the motivation, I would say, really goes down when you see people clicking pictures of flowers and clouds and houses and getting tons and tons of likes, and where you are actually clicking a picture comparing the human society poverty with animals and not getting likes and the appreciation that it truly deserves. So it's disheartening to some extent, but yeah, that's the truth. So, and we gotta make it that way. I can't help it.
Yeah, so make sure you follow him at Imprints. As he said, this I feel like it's sort of a problem, like with the recently with the not exactly recently, I think after the 2000s era, we have DSLR. By the DSLR, for those guys who don't know, DSLR stands for digital single lens reflex, right? So even before even before DSLR came, we had single lens reflex camera, which also could click really good pictures. But like after DSLR came, it became more like a social status. Like, he has got a DSLR, so he must be a really good photographer. So the social media is filled with all these wannabe photographers who just clicker, as he said, like clicking pictures of like cups and mugs and like clouds and something, and they're just editing it and like putting the name below, and they are opening their own photography page, and that's it. You are a photographer now. Congratulations. So yeah, this is I feel like this sort of thing actually needs to stop, because like there are so many people in the market, whereas I feel like I like the good people, the people who good photographers are sort of getting stamped on. So yeah, I want to ask you one thing, that because you click so much photographs, you click so much photos very often, actually much more often than I do. I'm gonna just tell a funny irony, that is, I have a DSLR camera, okay, and I used to be very interested in photography, but then I do not get the time to actually get out on road and click, because my I like clicking more of the street photography part. That's my domain, okay, but then there's a lot of other domains. But I want to ask you that what do you think of the Indian public's reaction on photographers? Because I've seen it's also my personal observation that whenever you go out trying to click some random photos of street, people tend to freak out. They're like, wait, what the hell are you doing? Did you just click my picture? They delete it immediately. And I feel like this is a very sorry scene in India. And have you ever faced something like this?
Well, I'd say the public's reaction and the photographer's relationship with the public carrying a DSLR on the roads, it's one way to put it, it's controversial. Okay, I'd say, because however today's society stands, no one can trust anyone, and let's just agree to this point that all the listeners listening to this and all the people who are going to speak in the podcast coming on from now, they can agree on one thing. If a person you see on the street randomly with a DSLR with a big lens, it looks frightening. Okay, like just agree to that. And out of us all of the blue, and he's clicking your pictures, and we are guys. Okay, it's still fine. But for the girls out there, the society is not good anymore. Okay, there are perverts out there who just need something, some body part of a woman. I'm really sorry to say that I have to say this for the Indian society, but that's how disgusting it has become over time. We just need some photos, some just random photos, like depicting skin or not even depicting skin, doesn't really matter. That's just to satisfy the inner hunger that we have. So I guess that's one of the reason that majority of the women, I would say, freak out in the first place, and that has spread to the guys as well. And it's not really that. Maybe you might have some kind of public relation going on with some other person who's not really in good terms, and that guy might have sent a personal spy on you to click pictures. Obviously we have seen on movies and James Bond films and all those things, how they spy on people and the burst mode shots, and that's how they acquire the target. There are different thoughts. Basically I would say that there's no concrete reason why people freak out because of their pictures getting clicked in public, but there's this weird sort of I'd say thought process that goes inside of freaking out. Like, oh my god, you clicked a photograph. Why did you click a photograph? What are you gonna do with the photograph? Are you gonna give it to someone? Are you gonna leak it to some website that is not appropriate? These are various thoughts. I would say some of these are my personal thoughts, and some of these I've heard from various people. But the major thing is that people don't like to get their photo clicked by a random person with a DSLR in their hand unless you just can't click a photo and run away.
Yeah, what you said is definitely good, definitely something which is a point. But then I feel like the Indian society is not yet ready for this, because I've seen people clicking photos outside. For example, I follow a lot of photographers. There's Peter McKinnon. There's Casey Neistat is not exactly like a photographer. He's more of a video guy. But we can all agree to this, that they fall on the same domain. So in the United States, Casey Neistat, if you know, he's a very famous YouTuber. He lives in New York City. So whenever he goes out with the camera in his hand, all the people around him, they are more of eager to get into the frame than getting frightened and getting out of the frame, like we see here. So I feel like Indian society is not yet ready for such a thing, and it will definitely take some time for the general public to get accustomed to a vlogger, for example, because vlogging is still a very new term in India. In USA you see a vlogger, it's like a very common thing. Even people ask you, and they deliberately ask you, and they subscribe to your channel, which is, I feel like, which is a long way. India has got a long way to go till we reach that. But yeah, as you spoke about perverts and women, I would like to, you are telling me about a story in your college that happened, and would you like to, are you comfortable sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking for an opportunity to share that. But before we go on to that, I guess when you said about the Indian society, I guess that's the major difference between the West and the East. How people are comfortable in the West and how people are not comfortable in the East. And the most brightest example that I would like to give between the difference between the West and the East is that in the West you will see a lot of couples making out in public, and that's a normal deal over there. Okay, kissing each other out of love, and even if it is not out of love, and for a pretty long duration, strangers just pass by without even noticing it. And if there's an accident, they will just pass by. Or if a person is beating some person up, there will be some stranger obviously who will come up and ask what is going on, but no one is really interested to look into other people's issues or other people's fiascos, whatever is happening over there. But in the East, in the Indian streets, okay, it's just not the same case. It is not. One guy punches another guy and there will be hundreds of people over there just clicking photos and clicking pictures, no matter what is happening over there. And it's a big deal. Oh my god, we are gonna make a movie out of it, and there's action scene going over there. Let's go enjoy entertainment. It will make our heads turn. Okay, that's the major point. Whatever happens on the streets, oh my god, one guy shouts, we all turn our heads to that. See the classroom examples. The teacher points out to another guy, everyone looks back, and oh my god, that guy, oh my god, form an impression, oh my god, judge that person. That's what happens in Indian society. You a girl, you just ask yourselves, like if you see a girl or like wearing short clothes, exposing his her skin, walking on the streets, you will look at her. We all will. Just that. And like the uncles or like whatever the elderly people, they look at her, they judge her, and we often term her as a hoe, a prostitute, or a girl who is too open to boys. Why do we do that? I really don't understand. What kind of judgment is this? It's her fucking choice. That if she wants to wear short clothes or if she wants to expose her skin, she is not fucking exposing her skin for you to look at her skin. It's not meant for that. She is exposing her skin because she feels like it. Because she considers that her fashion statement. Because she likes to wear those clothes. It's her fucking choice. It's not for you perverts to stare at her. It's not an invitation. It is not. That is the fucking thing you people need to put in your mind, which you still fail to. And don't think that we are too good of it. We are also a part of the Indian society, both of us and the people who are listening to it. We have also been a part of it. But we have learned over a course of time. We have been influenced by the West and we have taken the positive parts. As in a lot of uncles and the elderly people, no disrespect intended over here, but like all the elderly people say the West is a bad influence. No, it's not. If you take the good, it's the good. If you take the bad, it's the bad. And we really, as India, as the Indian society evolves, we fucking need to take the good ones. I don't understand. Why do we see as the West as a negative influence? Just take the good. They have tons and tons of good to offer. Like a girl you see walking on the roads, you see a bit of a tummy, you just stare at it. I have seen it. I have seen this happen with my own girlfriend. What the fuck is happening? Why the fuck will you stare at that? Don't you have anything to do? Or if you don't really have anything, just go home and masturbate. If you really want to put your testosterone levels down, that's all you got to do. Why the fuck do you need sex all the time? What the fuck is wrong with Indian men? I don't understand that. Okay. I would like you to hold.
Definitely. This is actually a bit of a problem. Not bit. It's a huge problem actually. Last year the world. I saw a survey that said that India is actually the I think it's the second most. I don't remember it, but definitely India is one of the top countries that ranks one of the top in porn watching, which is I feel like a very big and a very bad thing to happen. It's a terrible thing. Okay, so I would like to justify what I just said. Basically, I saw a YouTube video just a couple of days back, and it said that all the rape cases that happened in India, right? So after which the suspect is being interviewed, that why the whole thing happened, and he basically maximum amount of times he says that I saw so and so porn video in which I saw a so and so girl doing this or doing that. So I feel like it's a big problem where what happens in porn videos, right? And I feel like at this day and age, 90% of the people, actually no, it's more than 90, almost 95 to 99% of the people watch porn, other than all the sannyas and all the sadhus and all those people who are dedicated.
I guess you can relate.
So yeah,
that's a very sensitive topic close to your heart.
Yeah, so
sadhus and all that.
Yeah, other than that, I'm not talking about Ram Rahim, right? Because Ram Rahim he's a class apart. But no, I'm talking about like the true sadhu. Okay, that's
we have heard a lot of cases about sadhus raping women, like going into caves and raping women.
Those are like pseudo sadhus who are just there for.
Majority of sadhus are pseudo sadhus if you consider if you really filter that out.
Other than Himalayas, maybe. If you go to Himalayas, you can see what
you can survive.
Actually,
find out sadhus over there.
But anyway, we are drifting off the topic. That is. What I was speaking about is that the majority of us watch, and it's like a sort of a guilty pleasure that we all watch porn, right? But then, if you notice it closely, there's almost in all porn videos there's a storyline that for example, Johnny Sins, the famous porn star, he's actually famous for being a plumber, he's an engineer, he's a doctor, he's basically everything.
He's the man with all the talent.
He's basically everything. So. We see that like for example, there's a plumber in the house and the girl is always ready to fuck, and there's like a doctor, a patient in a doctor's clinic, and the doctor says, "Hey, let's fuck." So that's something which I feel like has impacted the Indian society in a very bad way. That people think that people start objectifying women, and that's where all the problem begins. That when they treat women like that, and women resist, the boy feels like, hey, why the hell is she resisting? She should have fun. This is where I feel like the problem begins. And objectifying of women is also something which I feel like which starts from a very young age, where like and I've seen this with my own cousin actually. Like me and my cousin are very close actually. So sometimes she comes to our house and no, not in our house, I'm sorry, we actually go to our aunt's place. And because I am I am the only son in our whole, I'm the only boy in the whole family, I subconsciously, she treats me in a superior way, and just because she's a girl, she gets treated in a sort of an inferior way. And this is something which a lot of people who are like from birth, who have siblings can relate to that. Girls are always being like treated as they are inferiors, and that's sort of which raises sort of a stigma that girls are below me, which leads to this whole objectifying of women, which leads to rape cases. So yeah, definitely I feel like porn industry is if not the biggest, it's one of the biggest reasons why India is becoming this sort of a crazy place for rapes. What do you think about this?
I don't know whether when you're talking about porn and you're saying that it's affecting the minds of the Indian people and they're expecting to have sex with women whenever they wish and wherever they wish, I don't know whether I should agree to that or disagree to that, because I have my own points to agree and disagree at the same time. So to agree with you, yes, definitely, because like people watch porn, okay, like when the hunger goes out of control, they watch porn, and in porn we have basically a lot of fantasies. Porn is creative, first of all, let's get to that, and there are different ways and like categories, like massage, French teacher, doctor, whatever you like, you just name one, engineer, medical student, dentist. There's like endless categories of porn in the first place. So people watch that, and people have an expectation in their mind that, oh my god, we'll go to this might happen in the real life also. Despite of several porn stars actually spitting the truth out that this is all fantasy, this is all scripted, and nothing like this should and would happen in real life ever. If you like approach a porn star also in real life and just ask her that, would you like to fuck me, or would you like let's have a great time in a casino, or let's just go and dress up as doctors, she would resist. Obviously anyone would. It's about self-respect. Any guy would resist. I don't know about the perverts, they would love to get laid and get raped, I would say, who are the rapists in that case. But anyone, be it a guy or a girl, for the sake of self-respect, will resist any kind of sexual touch or any kind of sexual intentions from of the same gender or the opposite gender. So porn industry is creating that kind of expectation in the minds of people, that whether they can, where they can get that kind of treatment or they can give that kind of sexual treatment to a woman or to a man in the other case, in the clinics or in teachers or whatever. What I would like to disagree over here is that if we suppose what our new government did is that they banned porn in India. So what figured out, and various people in India figured out various different ways to finally go and watch porn in different websites using VPNs and whatnot. But what I would like to say, if you discontinue porn, I don't really know, and I am not too sure whether the comment that I'm gonna make over here is that whether it's gonna reduce rape cases and whatever sexual misnomers are happening over here, and or it's gonna decrease sexual abuse on a daily basis for which the girls are facing from their birth. I would say, come on, we've all heard the rape cases of a 3-year-old daughter and a nun who was almost 84 or 80 years old. I'm not too sure that it's gonna decrease, or I would say increase, because I'd like to say that if you reduce porn, then you're reducing the only perhaps method for a guy who doesn't have a woman in his life, who's frustrated as fuck, to take out his hunger by masturbating. You are stopping that. So what he's gonna do is that obviously he cannot use his imagination. We all know that it does not work that way. So what he's gonna do is that he does not have porn now, but the hunger inside it's gonna increase obviously, and there is no way for him to satiate his testosterone levels, the increasing levels of his body and his boner in that case. He is gonna look at real life women. Obviously, if he's not getting the digital entertainment for that purpose, he's gonna look at real life, and God knows what he's gonna do. And God forbid he ends up raping children and old women. I really don't know, but the society over time has really become disgusting, wherein we hear rape cases each and every other hour of the day. And India is one of the most unsafe countries of the world, not considering the Middle East, obviously. So I don't know where we go from here. Like this decision, whoever is gonna take this decision about banning porn industry, or like whether it should continue, it's gonna be a lot of skepticalities and a lot of discussions. And the last thing we want to do is be dicey about it, because if we are taking a decision, we need to be confident about it, and we need to prepare for the consequences.
No, I would like to say something that, if you stop watching porn, there's a huge movement. I don't know if you're aware of this, and that is called the NoFap movement. And I've not exactly tried it myself, but I was like, I've gone without masturbation to up to like 2 weeks. Actually, no, not more than 2 weeks. It's like it's been like 2, 3. And there's
we don't need to hear that. It's okay. We don't need.
No, it's actually a big movement that's going on worldwide. There's actually this thing called No Nut November that people actually follow. There have been scientific studies that show that there's increased levels of testosterone, and which actually people think that increased levels of testosterone means like you're gonna have more of a boner, or you're gonna have more of a horny kind of a guy. But if you utilize that testosterone and sort of make use of that in a more productive way, I feel like that's a much better use of it, and that's why I don't feel like banning, or if you from your own, if you stop watching porn, it's not gonna have that much bad impact on your body.
You and me, I completely agree to that. Positive users of testosterone, but you and I, we are like educated people. We all understand, but some people only understand the language of sex. That's all they do. They look at women as sex objects. They want women as sex objects, and they have considered all the women in the entire world as sex objects. The vagina is an object, and your dick is the organ which has to be introduced in the object, which will give you a pleasure of a feeling which every guy of this category craves for. And as I said, that educated, and in recent times, tough times really, I would say that education has also gone down so much down the ditch that educated people are also ending up in rape cases, and it's really sad to see the society like this. Don't know what to say to this.
Okay, so Dr. Jayaditya Modak, it's been an honor. It's been a wonderful time. It's been wonderful to have you on the show.
It's been my honor to be on this show.
So it's been a while, and we should wrap up right now. And before we wrap up, I want to ask you something that this is something I came up with. That is in each and every podcast, I'm gonna that consists of a guest. I'm gonna ask the guest that you have to tell me a song, the name of a song that sort of inspires you and motivates you to get up. And since this is the Great Indian Podcast, right, and our motto is to be that great Indian, be that guy who doesn't complain and who directly contributes. Doesn't matter how big or small of a job you do, but whatever you do directly or indirectly contributes to the nation, to the building of the nation, right? So just name a song which motivates you and inspires you to be that great Indian.
To be honest, it's been a long time that I've heard Hindi songs, and it's not about Hindi, I know, but I have been majority English song listener.
No, I would like to add one thing, that it doesn't have to be an Indian song, and many people will say that, oh, it's the Great Indian Podcast, and why is it like not Indian song? I also thought about this, and I wanna tell one thing, that I want Indians to be global citizens. So I don't think that Indians should only restrict themselves in just listening and or using Indian stuff. That is something which I don't feel like that should be done, and that's why me personally I promote wearing suits and sort of Western clothing, because if you go to any big event, you will see people wearing suits. Although something which was done by Abhijit Benoy Banerjee was something worth appreciating, that he did in the Nobel Prize when he was receiving Nobel Prize. Anyways, that's why I don't think that that's why I don't think that Indian that this song has to be Indian, because as I said, be global citizens. So yeah, please continue.
Yeah, but I would like to say that the songs that I have on my mind are purely Indian. So one song is that every time I listen to it, it makes me fall in love with my girlfriend once again. It's Aaj Jaane Ki Izzat Na Karo. It's a really old song, and I really love that. And whatever situation you are in, you can just listen to that song, and it will make you remind of any loved one that you have lost, or perhaps you still have but do not talk to yet. And I'd say that I'd say that spend more time with your loved ones, because you never know what turn life takes. And the second song that I would say, it's a bonus track, and he's already saying me to cut it off. We need only one song, but I just like to have. It's a tribute to the most beautiful woman I ever met in my life. It's Chaudhary by Mami Khan and Amit Trivedi. It's on Coke Studio, and just listen to it and you will fall in love with it, and it will be enough of a reason to make you be proud of an Indian. That's it.
Okay, so as he said, yeah, I'm gonna be making a Spotify playlist that features all these songs, and basically with all the guests that are gonna be coming to the Great Indian Podcast, I'm gonna be adding more and more songs to the playlist, and the idea is that whenever you feel low or you feel sort of demotivated to do anything in life, you sort of listen to that playlist, and you feel motivated and charged up to do stuff, and also to be the Great Indian. Okay, so on that call, so would you like to plug yourself, sort of Instagram or something?
Yeah, I would.
Where can people find you?
I would really appreciate that. You can find me on Instagram at the Division Bell. I'd like to spell it out: _the.division.bell_. That's all. I just use the Instagram handle, and WhatsApp I'm not sharing, because even though I'm not a girl, I still fear this.
Okay, and you know where to find us. You know where to find the Great Indian Podcast. You can find us at Instagram at the Great Indian Podcast. Follow us at Twitter at Great Indian Pod. And if you're listening on YouTube, please do comment on if you liked it or not, and which are the places where we can improve. And make sure to like it, subscribe, and also click the bell icon. So yeah, that's been it from the Great Indian Podcast for now. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, goodbye.